Good day, Music World, and welcome to another edition of the Music World according to the Finschise. We're going to start today with the newest release from The Strokes. Okay, so maybe this isn't the newest of the new release albums, but let's be honest, guys, this album's actually very good. The first two Strokes albums that came out in the early 2000s, Is This It and Room on Fire, were both brilliant albums, brilliant garage rock-oriented albums. But their last release, First Impressions of Earth, was very strange and very experimental in parts, and I really didn't like it overall. However, their new album, Angles, is a great return to that garage rock sound, and it's very easily the best thing they've done since the early 2000s, and I actually really enjoy a lot of the songs on the album. And is it just me, or have you ever heard Julian Casablancas sing like this ever in his life? On the first two albums, he seemed a little boring with the singing at times. Still cool, but he seemed a little bland with his singing. But on Angles, he really comes into his own and is really belting out a lot of the songs and gives the album a great energy feel to it. So the Strokes are back, ladies and gentlemen. The Strokes are definitely back. Alright, next up we have a Funkadelic album by the name of Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. Now, honestly, what I think about this album is that it's one of their better albums. Funkadelic is a really cool band, fans of funk and hard rock will be basically in heaven because, that's what Funkadelic is, the great combination of funk and hard rock. Now, this album here, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow, is probably one of the more funk-oriented albums, and I think that that's probably the strong point of the album. I've heard some of their other albums, and, they get a little experimental at times, but this album here is probably their straight-up funkiest album. And for those of you who don't know Funkadelic, they're just such an entertaining band, the album starts off with a 10-minute instrumental with strange, not lyrics, but more like statements and quotes, but it's all very entertaining the way they put it together. So I'd say for fans of funk and hard rock, Funkadelic is a great band, very entertaining band, very visual band as well, so check it out, guys. Now here on the Music World according to the Finschise, I like to give you stuff that I haven't put on my blog, so today I'm going to talk about probably one of my all-time favorite albums, Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. As far as guitar, albums with great guitar work, I'd put this in easily my top 5. As far as hard rock albums go, this is probably one of the best the 90s had to offer. There's just such an amazing amount of raw energy. Zach De La Rocha, one of the great hard rock, heavy metal vocalists. Tom Morello, one of the greatest innovators in guitar history. And as far as rebellious, lyrically anarchistic albums goes, this is top of the line. This is the best you're gonna get. There's just such a great raw amount of energy to the album that it's just probably easily one of my favorite albums of all time. If you guys haven't heard Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album, you haven't. It's their best album, I think. And any fan of the early 90s hard rock grunge movement will probably enjoy, and anybody that actually likes a lot of punk fans will also enjoy too, because you got the anarchy factor as well. Alright, so for today's showdown, I'm going to be talking about two classic albums by one of the 90s punk pioneers, Green Day. Alright, so first I'm going to talk about obviously the more well-known album, Dookie. Now Dookie, as well as being a punk classic, it's probably one of the highest, I think it's one of the highest selling rock albums of the 90s for any genre of music. You know, I'm gonna be honest. You know, I like Dookie, but you know, for me, I think it's a little immature in parts. You know, it does have some classic punk tunes. Pulling teeth and basket case. You know, I've heard it so many times, but it's still a classic. And you know, when I come around, you know, there are some great songs on there. That's not to be argued, but to be honest, I think that lyrically and musically, it's not the best that Green Day has to offer. However, when you look at it, as far as what was going on at that time, you know, it's probably the better album, because Dookie was a huge part of bringing punk to the mainstream and reigniting people's interest in punk music. I'm on the road, lose some control, I'm blowing a big whip, Now, a few years later, Green Day released Insomniac, which I think by far is such a better album, at least musically, you know. Lyrically, it still got that rebellious, young feeling that Dookie had all over it. However, I think that just musically, as musicians, Insomniac is probably a little more listener-friendly. I think that the songs on Insomniac were put together better. However, you know, I don't know if it really adds up to like the global impact that Dookie had. You know, still people talk about Dookie till this day, but Insomniac nobody really ever talks about much. But I think Insomniac is definitely worth a listen. First off, I want to say, if you haven't listened to Insomniac yet, you should definitely check it out if you're a Green Day fan. Okay, this is really tough for me actually, this showdown, but for me, personally, I think Insomniac is a better album as a whole. As far as impact goes on society, Dookie, of course, is the better album. But musically, I think Insomniac is much better. And Insomniac has such great songs like Geek Stink Breath, and Walking Contradiction, and it's a brilliant punk album as far as I'm concerned. Alright guys, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Please subscribe to my channel, you know, check me out on Twitter, check out my regular blog, and leave a comment or two. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Tell me even if you agree or if you disagree. I want to hear what you guys have to say, alright? I take recommendations, I'll talk about music that you guys want to hear, so I'll see you tomorrow.